Oh yes, this piece is simply ravishing. I love how the intersecting lines just describe everyday life. Yet it's simple. Pop art is so in again. This piece will sell for millions. It's just, I love how the cube just represents how we're so encapsulated and we're just trying to break free. This is such a bold reimagining of the human skull structure. I feel so fresh. Can't believe it has never been done before. The way the mouth just really pops.
Hey guys, it's me, back again, and this time I'm bringing you my review of the Netflix original film, Velvet Buzzsaw. As you can see, I decided to give the robe a little bit of a break, classed it up a little bit today. I mean, not to the degree where I put pants on or anything, but let's not get crazy. Velvet Buzzsaw reunites director Dan Gilroy with Jake Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo after their phenomenal work on the movie Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was one of my favorite movies the year it came out, and this movie was getting a lot of buzz, pun intended, from the Sundance Film Festival where it premiered. So obviously I was pretty excited to see what Velvet Buzzsaw had in store for me. Unfortunately, I was disappointed to say the least. This movie is a bit of a mess, but there are some bright spots, specifically the acting. Jake Gyllenhaal's character plays an art critic, and as always, Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic. He's never turned in a bad performance. The characters around his character include Rene Russo, an art gallery owner, also fantastic, and her assistant, Zhao Ashton, is how I believe you pronounce her name. She's great. I've never seen her before in anything, but I hope to see her more in the coming years. Her assistant character finds the artwork of a recently deceased man who lived in her apartment building. And this artwork, it develops a huge following, and people just seem to adore it. Yet there might be some spookiness surrounding the artwork. Other notable actors include John Malkovich, who has a great little part in here, and Toni Collette, who's also fantastic, coming off the back of her film Hereditary in 2018. It was also really fun to see Stranger Things' Natalie Dyer pop up, as well as Billy Magnussen, who had a really fun role in last year's Game Night. That little summary I gave is very surface level, but if you dig a little bit deeper than that, this movie is really about appreciating art for being art, rather than its monetary value. And unfortunately, this very heavy-handed message seems to drag down the rest of the film. Dan Gilroy's inspiration for this movie is actually quite interesting. He was working as a writer on the Tim Burton Superman movie that was canceled just a few weeks before it was supposed to start filming. If you want a really fun Google search, look up Nicolas Cage in the Superman costume. That movie was canceled, apparently because the studio didn't think it was going to make enough money. And Gilroy views this as some art that he created that nobody's ever going to be able to see just because the studio didn't view its monetary value at the same level as its artistic value. That does make Velvet Buzzsaw feel a little self-indulgent, but outside of that, the movie, it just sort of struggles to really get any momentum. Even with the air of mystery surrounding this artist and his artwork, that entire plot line is just resolved in the snap of a fingers when a random character shows up over halfway through the movie and just gives us a huge exposition dump of everything we need to know. And there's a reason you don't tell stories like that. They need to naturally develop, or you don't feel like you're actually going along with the movie and you're just being told things. Outside of the wonky storytelling, this movie struggles because it feels like it should be a psychological horror rather than a psychological thriller. Now, this might seem like a little bit of a technicality, but it really does change the whole way you would look at the movie. There are some fun death scenes in the movie, but they end up being quite forgettable because the movie doesn't pack enough of a punch. It would rather go for the thrills than the scares. And this movie, if you watch it, it really does scream slasher movie. This should be a movie where we just see characters die in fun and creative ways, but Gilroy leans away from that and rather focuses on the psychological trauma that certain characters are going through. I couldn't help but feel myself become disattached from most of the characters, either because they were too sort of like kooky, or they were just making wrong decisions and they ended up all coming across as jerks. All of that being said, there are some bright spots in Velvet Buzzsaw. As I already mentioned, the acting is all great, and there's a really beautiful opening credits scene, as well as some fun deaths. Even if they are forgettable, you'll enjoy them in the moment. It's really hard for me to recommend Velvet Buzzsaw because I'm not really sure who would find the movie enjoyable. Horror fans would probably find the movie too boring and just all around not very entertaining, while more artsy film fans would shy away from the horror aspects of the film, so I don't really see anyone enjoying this movie fully. It is readily available on Netflix, so I don't want to say it's a complete waste of time, and if you're a fan of Nightcrawler, I would definitely recommend giving it a watch, even though I can't promise you'll enjoy it. Despite that, I am still looking forward to whatever Gilroy and team bring us in the future. Hopefully you found this video at least as entertaining as I found Velvet Buzzsaw. If you did, I'd really appreciate a like and a comment. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.